G2 putting all of their eggs in the Zven basket after the success they found yesterday with the Caitlyn comp. But Team WE taking it straight to them in the early game, smacking them around a little bit, and then a nice dominant finish to put it all to rest. I mean, so we saw, again, a more aggressive look here for Team WE in the face of a Kog'Maw Nunu composition of all things from G2. What are our thoughts about this champ select?
First of all, in the champ select, I think WE did well to prep. They were expecting this. They were not caught off guard at all. They had many forms of hard engage to try and get back to that back line, take out the Kog'Maw, and they executed very well with it.
That's a big thing for me, the fact that they were able to reach that back line, that they saw reacted appropriately. And I like the fact that they still have the confidence for Ben on that Malzahar. Again, it seems so off-putting. Malzahar is not great on this patch, not great into Lulu. You know, she's able to clear out those void lanes so easily, but you can see that he wasn't bothered in lane, that he continued to be an asset in setting up those team fights.
But you could also see that G2 tried to plug and play Nunu for something like an Irony, the supportive jungler. A lot of other supports gone here. And you really weren't convinced by Trick on the Nunu, some of his pathing, losing out on the Smite battle, on the red buff as well. Those little things when it's Nunu, a champion can fall so
Kobe is having
behind.
such a tough time over there, shaking his head.
No excuses for that Nunu play. No
Nothing.
excuses at all, especially when you're going up against Graves. Like, DPS champions like that are a bit scary for Nunu because they can just continually throw DPS into Nunu, and there's no threat going to come for him. So you do have to be careful in your early game. And again, this team, backed up jungling is very important with champions like that.
Now, all this said, it's not like Team W played a perfect game. I want to take a look at an early game replay here. Going into a turret dive here in the bot lane. They'll net 2 kills for G2 with the Shen coming in.
They did this exact same thing against TSM as well. It just comes to this moment where they can play top lane and they just kind of forget that the top laner exists. Like, hello, that's a Shen. He's going to beat you to the teleport. And suddenly Team WE looks like they're playing Mario Kart. Like, they're swerving all over this jungle.
I mean, the TP was down, to be fair, so they probably had that timer, but they forgot that Shen has a second one attached to his kit. So G2, they get the better of them in that regard, but we see how long it takes for G2 to ramp up to a position, as Crepo said, a 1 damage threat comp. When you're behind, it doesn't spell very good things for you, especially when you're getting caught by arrows. And that's where our second replay is going to come from, an Acer replay. This is Zven getting caught out by arrows. Team WE capitalizing on the misposition.
And again, it's a great engaged Zven. Walked up to kill a ward, and then end up, it doesn't even take the Malzahar, but it's actually probably misclicked onto Trick, but they take down a couple. And WE, you can understand why G2 thought, okay, let's go with Zven again. It's worked so well in the past. WE doesn't necessarily always punish in the early game. Froskuren said a couple of times we see different sides, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of Team WE, and this was a WE trained on the mid game.
Yeah, this is something that they do back in the LPL. Again, it's kind of that long hiatus. They stall, they sit back, they watch what you're doing, but as soon as you step out, as soon as a single toe goes over the line, they will slam down on top of it. I thought the casters did a great job, addressing that during game, and it's nice to see it actually reflected there with such a beautiful arrow.
Yeah, I also have some questions about the setup here from G2 in terms of giving themselves options to actually scale to the late game. I brought it up kind of off camera with you guys. LeBlanc, yes, has wave clear, but it feels unsafe having to distort in for that. Why not pick some more options to actually stall out the game, as opposed to, as soon as we get behind, we have no choice but to, to accept the push that you're throwing at us?
I mean, ultimately, I see what you're saying, and I do agree with it to an extent, but they could also play like a 1-3-1 really easily with this composition, because they can bounce around so easily with lane assignments. Like, you have the LeBlanc, you have the Shen. Even if they don't get the push advantage, they can, either throw the lane and the LeBlanc can disappear, or Shen can just absorb all of this farm. You have Lulu to sit with Kog'Maw and just kind of babysit him with Nunu. So there were options there, but unfortunately, like, even though Team WE also did a rather poor job with their own lane assignments, it wasn't enough to kind of stall out Kog'Maw for his big breaking point.
Final thoughts.
I mean, you look at Orianna's not bad, and you might say, okay, shielding comp, why not Orianna? But then, as Frost is saying, we already talked about single damage threat. Orianna in the early game, not much of a damage threat. Also, can't match in the side lanes. Then you don't even have a 1-3-1 option. Then you really only have a single strategy. So they take LeBlanc for power. They probably didn't have a great answer to LeBlanc. So you kind of just pick it up, hope for the best, and the best wasn't good.
Bring us home.
You always have to be so careful with these compositions where you're farming for a specific spike with how much you're giving up. And when you're giving up huge amounts of jungle control early with the Nunu by not adding your true damages together and getting them off at the same time, and Condi just completely taking over, then it really makes that type of stall difficult.
A misstep from G2. Team WE, they capitalize for another win here at MSI. There's still more to come.
Welcome back, everybody, to MSI 2017 live from Rio. I am joined by Mystic, the AD carry for Team WE after a victory over G2. And I first want to ask about, that game, as G2 crafted a very, very protect the AD carry composition. What was your strategy and your goals in that game to win it?
그 G2 팀이 매우 원딜지키 조합을 가지고 나왔는데 그 조합을 깨기 위해서 어떤 전략을 준비했고 어떻게 승리를 하게 되었는지 말씀해 주세요.
아마 상대방이 쿠방 한타 들어가면은 코그모가 굉장히 많은 화력을 낼 수 있는 조합인데, 그렇기 때문에 저희가 일단 바텀 위주로 게임 풀어 나가면서 상대 코그모를 좀 말리고 시작해서 괜찮았던 것 같아요.
We thought that if this game went to late game, the Kog'Maw would be really farmed and it would be hard to beat that composition. So we focused our early game in harassing their bot lane and Kog'Maw, and I think that resulted in our win.
That it did, and you guys are doing quite well so far here at MSI. And when it comes to LPL representatives, everybody knows about RNG, everybody knows about EDG, but who is Team WE? What is your style?
지금 현재까지 WE 팀은 매우 좋은 성적을 거두고 있지만 사실은 이제 LPL 팀이 국제대회에 출전하게 되면 보통 사람들은 EDG랑 RNG를 생각하게 되는데 지금 WE 팀에 대해서는 어떤 팀인지 간단히 소개해 주세요.
일단 저희 팀이 이렇게 성적이 항상 상위권이었지만 이렇게 국제대회에 나오게 된 거는 거의 처음인데 저희도 EDG, RNG 못지않게 강한 팀이라고 생각해요.
Even though we've been playing decent and pretty well in LPL, it's been a long time since we came back to the international stage. But I would like to say our team is as good as RNG and EDG.
Well, then there are good things to come. Thank you very much, Mystic, and thank you, Ho Min, as well. And now back over to you guys for the match intro.